everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are a new viewer, hello. I'm so happy that you're here. My hope and prayer is that once you are finished listening to this video, that you will go ahead and hit that subscription button if you like what you heard. If you are a returning viewer, hey boo hey. To the both of you, I am so happy that you decided to join me. As always, grab a snack, get comfortable. We are unpacking The Gifts of Imperfection by Dr. Brene Brown. If you don't have the book, that's fine. If you would like to purchase the book, there's still time. I'm not a rapper, but I should be. We have been walking through this book very slowly. If you don't have any goal of purchasing the book, that's okay as well. You want to grab a pen and paper, your cell phone, something to take notes on, because I believe that we're going to unpack several things that you are going to want to chew on. If you missed the last video, it is tagged below. You can start at the beginning of the series or you can start at this video. It's totally up to you. All of the information is independent of one another. However, they do build on each other. So you can start here, you can start at the first video. The last video that we watched, we were talking about creating a spirit of resiliency. And now we are on page 77. Which is talking about cultivating gratitude and joy. So, excuse me. If I'm going to be completely honest, I like the slow walk a little more. I'm happy at the pace that I've gone thus far, but I think since we are coming kind of towards the end, I don't want to like rush the book close. I really want us to pay attention to those last couple of sections. And also see where everything kind of ties in together. So if you notice that the videos are shorter or that the information is kind of coming together a little smaller, it's because I really want us to take some time to be intentional about application and to unpack it. I want to make sure I'm sharing and I'm not just, teaching or facilitating or whatever words you want to use. I want to make sure I'm, allowing you into my space, getting back to the main thing, which is cultivating a dialogue around these topics. Because as I've been implementing some of the things Brene talks about, my life has been changing. And I want to make a conscious effort to make sure I make time to share that with you so that you're not alone in maybe some of the things that you're thinking about, or I don't know why this piece of hair is like sticking out, that you're not alone and that, kind of have a place where you can say, oh, you too, So I'm just going to jump right in. Brene talks about gratitude and joy in this section. However, for this video, we're just going to talk about gratitude. She says, one of the most profound changes in my life happened when I got my head around the relationship between gratitude and joy. I always thought that joyful people were grateful people. I mean, why wouldn't they be? They have all of the goodness to be grateful for. But after spending countless hours collecting stories about joy and gratitude, 3 powerful patterns emerged. The first one she mentions is that without exception, every person I interviewed who described living a joyful life or who described themselves as joyful actively practiced gratitude and attributed their joyfulness to their gratitude practice. Number 2, she said both joy and gratitude were described as spiritual practices that were bound to a belief in human interconnectedness and a power greater than us. Number 3, people were quick to point out the differences between happiness and joy as the differences between a human emotion that's connected to circumstances and a spiritual way of engaging with the world that's connected to practicing gratitude. I'm going to read that one more time. People were quick to point out the differences between happiness and joy. Happiness being a human emotion that's connected to circumstances, and joy being a spiritual way of engaging with the world that's connected to practicing joy. Practicing gratitude. I've heard that before. I don't know if you have. People say happiness is conditional. You can't steal my joy. Joy is like unconditional. It's like you can't rob me of it. It's connected to me being able to just be so thankful through and through for what's going on in my life, right? She says, for years, I subscribed to the notion of an attitude of gratitude. So she's saying for years, she was saying that she was posturing herself to have an attitude of gratitude. I've since learned that an attitude is an orientation or a way of thinking, and that having an attitude doesn't always translate to a behavior. This is where I really want to dwell today. So for years, she would say, I have an attitude of gratitude. Like, she's declaring that this is the lifestyle she has, this is the posture. But what she learned was that an attitude is an orientation or a way of thinking. So having an attitude does not translate to having that behavior. This absolutely punched me in my mouth, because for a moment in time, I had to stop and say, what things do I believe, or at least profess to be my beliefs, and am I practicing it, right? So, forgive so that you'll be forgiven. But do I really forgive people? Extend grace. Do I, the things that we say because they sound good and it's cliche, does our behavior reflect that as our truth, right? So she goes into this example about how she has a yoga mindset. She believes in breathing. She believes in mindfulness. She even owns a yoga mat and yoga attire. She said, but if put in a position that someone said, well, can you strike this yoga pose? She would not be able to do it. Though her mindset and the things around her matched what those who do yoga believe, she wasn't practicing yoga, so it wasn't a behavior for her. And so from this, she says, practice is better than knowledge. I don't know why it's such a small statement and it should not be that profound to me, but it is. Because I think what I want you to take away from this video is to slow down, right? And really ask yourself, because we're accumulating so much information. And if I'm going to be completely raw and transparent with you, God is so good, because when I started this series, he also put me in a position, in a space with people who were suddenly mandating vulnerability from me. So it was almost like, okay, Alicia, you're about to teach on authenticity and vulnerability and owning your story and being truthful and knowing that you're worthy and belonging versus fitting in and resiliency. I got you. And it was literally the same time, I cannot make this up, that I was doing this on YouTube with you all and in my private spaces, being asked to stretch. And so essentially what this section right here is saying is that people who proclaim to be joyful practice gratitude. They don't just have the mindset of gratitude. It is a part of their practice. Okay, so she goes on to say, so what does gratitude practice look like, right? It's not enough for me to tell you that. We need to know, what does it look like? She says the folks that she interviewed talked about keeping gratitude journals, doing daily gratitude meditations or prayers, creating gratitude art, and even stopping during their stressful, busy day to actually say these words out loud. I am grateful for ... So I'm going to pause this video because a lot of times I ask you all to, there's questions I leave you with, right? And I say, I want you to think about this and, comment below. And I found that a lot of us do not like to comment because it's vulnerable. We don't want to be the first to do it. Shout out to those who do comment. I appreciate you more than you know. But those who don't, shout out to you too, because it's just an area of growth. We don't want to be the one to say this was like, you had your foot on my neck with this topic, or that's me, or I struggle with this, because we don't know who's viewing it. We don't know who's going to see it. But this is another way of owning our truth publicly. This is another way of knowing that on this channel, you belong, right? And you're not just fitting in. And so I'm going to pause the camera and I'm going to invite you into my space of practicing gratitude, because I have my journal right here, and I'm going to take a moment to really stop in the middle of my day, and I want to encourage you to do the same thing. If you feel led, I would love to hear what you're grateful for, because I will share mine with you. And it can be one thing, it can be three things. But she said people who practice gratitude do gratitude journals, gratitude art, different things that drive them from a place of gratitude. And they take time out their day to say, I'm grateful for blank. So let's do that, right? I know this is like so simple, but it all connects. Remember, the goal is for wholehearted living. So with all this vulnerability, all this authenticity, all of this resiliency, all of this belonging, all of this truth telling, all of this understanding, compassion, and grace, we have to turn around and say, in order for me to experience joy, I have to implement things in my day-to-day life that will keep me grounded in a space that isn't wavered or changing based on the conditions around me. That happiness is about what I see, right? So happiness looks like when COVID-19 passes, I can go back outside. Now I'm happy. But joy says, regardless of COVID-19, I have these things in my life and I'm a stable boat, or I'm in a stable position. And it's not contingent upon employment. It's not contingent upon having all the things that I want. It's something that is deeply rooted. It comes from a deeply rooted place that cannot be uprooted. Okay? So I'm going to do some gratitude journaling right now. Okay. So that's my clip of me just taking a few moments to write. I am grateful for love. I'm a big believer that even when we're not in relationships, we have so much love around us. But I am grateful for both platonic and romantic love being in my life in this season. I'm grateful for my body. You know, if you follow this channel, that I have a fitness Friday, blanking out for a minute. And my health journey has shown me how much my body partners with me. So I'm thankful for all my body parts working with me and, you know, them still being functional. I'm thankful for my friends and my family. I'm thankful for the people who go out their way to encourage me randomly. I'm thankful for safety during this time and to have a community, even with being away from my direct family. So there you have it. Taking a few moments just to think about, like, what am I grateful for? And if we're gonna keep it 100, a lot of us have gratitude journals. We just don't practice the actual art of slowing down and saying, you know, what am I grateful for? And so after I post this video, I'm probably going to message a few people. I can't do everyone, but just 1 or 2, 3 people in my circle. And I think I'm going to start asking them every day, what are you grateful for today? I'm going to slow them down and ask them to engage in that with me. Because remember, the goal of this series is to not only talk about these things, these tools that we need to live wholeheartedly, but to connect and to put it into practice. It's not enough to have all this information if you're not practicing it. So my hope and prayer is that you paused when I asked you to, or that you pause now and take a moment. Tell me 3 things you're grateful for. 3 things. There's no right or wrong answer. Comment below. I would love to hear it. I'm sure it would encourage someone else. And then I want you to share this video. But most importantly, I want you to ask someone that you care about, hey, what are you grateful for today? And it's probably going to catch them off guard if it's not your norm, but you're slowing them down so that they can answer you. And they are going to feel phenomenal, I'm sure. I'm sure it's going to do something to them. So we will be back on Tuesday as always. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for following. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for purchasing the book. I'm not getting any sponsorship for you doing that. I just really, you know, love what she is producing. And just thank you for everything. The viewers, the people who have been keeping up, the people who share. I mean, just, I'm grateful for you all. I think I wrote that down. I think I said it. I don't know. But I do have it written down. I'm so thankful that you've been going on this journey with me. And that you are able to grab some sort of nugget from my channel, because that's the goal. That's the goal. I want everyone to have the tools that they can, you know, all the tools they can accumulate to live wholeheartedly, to maneuver through uncharted waters, to be the best version of themselves. That's my heart. And I want us to be connected while doing it. So, all right, I'm out of here.